Well, let's hope they don't die.
Oh, not really die, funnier die. Got it. I was like, damn, Mike, you went dark.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And this week, Iron Fist hits hard.
Okay.
I made a hit sound there. Did you hear it?
Yeah, I heard it.
There's some venom flowing through our veins.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Is the sun setting for the Dark Knight?
Well, I think the Dark Knight would like that, though, because he wants the sun to set.
It is a very dark night when the sun sets. It could be good.
Anyway, move along.
And more. So there we go. We got through it. So
man, so this is this episode. So usually when we hop on these mics together, we warm up a little bit. We have a little bit of a conversation off the record, I would say. But I feel like I've been using my voice for at least an hour plus already. So I don't know if that's going to add to our conversations or if I'm just going to hit the ground sooner at the end of this episode. But I'm leaning more towards this is going to be an awesome episode because there's things I need to know from your point of view. So I'm looking forward to this episode.
Great. Well, this is my first podcast in a new decade of my life, if you will, for us. So
oh yeah,
that's been going on this weekend. Had a good time Friday with family and some friends, and I spent most of yesterday working on building not building, but like I guess I have an arcade cabinet shell and getting parts to put in this to play all the old arcade games, not just one or two.
You know, from the outside, it looks like you're desperately trying to reclaim your youth now that you've hit 30. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like when I was like back in grade school and stuff like that, you know, you always looked at like the age of 30 as just like something almost like unattainable, or you'd think your life would just be so drastically different when you turn 30. You know, that's probably like the first time when I think you start to think like, oh, that's an adult, someone at 30 years old. And then you're over here just like, we're making a podcast about superheroes and you're making retro arcade cabinets. Like nothing changes. Nothing. There's no monumental change at 30.
No, not at all. So I bought myself a pop vinyl. I bought myself a CRT monitor, which I got a little story about that. And I got some of the best gifts. At work, my work bought me a key lime cheesecake and some Black Bolt t-shirts that I've never seen before.
That's awesome.
And then my friend John, who's also, I guess he's a realtor at my office, gave me one of those Infinity Gauntlet oven mitts from a Loot Crate that had a recall on them because they're not oven like temperature safe.
Because you can't actually use them. That's hilarious. I love how you can't actually use them in the oven.
Yeah, exactly. But like to have one, it just feels so good. So I got a bunch of kids stuff. With that CRT monitor, I bought it for $7 at a Peddler's Mall, Mike, and I was so happy, and I got it home, and I sat down, and I looked at the back of it, and the first words out of my mouth were like, fuck me. And because it only has the coaxial input on this TV, no RCA cables.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know they did that.
Yep, it still works, though, because it's got that hum when you turn it on and plug it in. It's awesome. So I spent 3 hours going to different stores last night before they closed trying to find an RCA converter, an RF modulator, if you will. So I got home and played my PlayStation 2 on it to test it out to make sure it works. This arcade is going to be awesome. I'm really excited. I'm going to keep you guys on progress with it because I've got most of the computer built for it as well. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, totally excited about that. Mike, anything else you want to add before we jump into this? I mean,
well, basically our first news item is kind of what my weekend's been comprised of watching this new show that we'll be spoiler casting next week because we're both not finished with it yet, I'm assuming.
Oh, you would be very correct. So Iron Fist, Marvel's Iron Fist landed on Friday on my birthday. It was the best gifts ever. I know a lot of people who have watched and finished the show already.
Wow.
Including superfan Jim, I believe, has watched most of it. Brian of Comic UI, he watched all of it for sure. I didn't get to watch it till today, Mike. Today was the first day because of everything going on, and I'm actually upgraded my Netflix subscription to watch it in 4K for the first time. So this is my first 4K show off Netflix, and I've got 2 episodes in, and you know what? I'm really enjoying myself. I have to say, people have said it's slow. I don't get it. So,
okay. Well, I guess with two episodes in, I mean, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'll go ahead and let everybody know this is going to be spoiler free for sure. Yeah. Even with these couple episodes, I think I'm about 4 or 5 episodes in. I don't exactly remember the episode we left off on, but remember, we had this whole conversation last week where I was getting a little worried about Iron Fist. I started hearing some shaky things from people. I saw some possibly fake news memes on Instagram that you told me not to worry about. It was very kind of you to reassure me. Mm-hmm. So I was a little worried going into Iron Fist. But then on Friday when we watched our first episode, I pulled it up on Netflix and I saw the star rating, and it was almost at I think at 5, maybe like 4.8 if you could equate the meter that was filled there. So I was just like, just seeing that star rating just like instantly made me feel better, even though I know that star rating's kind of all over the place and I think Netflix is even getting rid of it. It was still nice to see, a visual confirmation kind of contradicting some of the stuff that I saw.
It wasn't a kick in the nuts. Yeah.
And also I'm just laying down some caveats here before we jump into it. Also, a lot of the reviews out there for the critics that have reviewed the show ahead of time, I believe they have only saw the first 6 episodes.
It's the first half. Pretty much.
So they haven't actually had a chance to see the whole episode. So that's kind of where I'm leaving it with everything that was out there in the ether. So basically, we got into the show, and I have to say, like, it's. I've been really trying to find the best way to describe this, just because I don't want to hate on the show because I'm not done watching it yet. But it has a lot working for it, but it also has a lot working against it. So first of all, it's this kind of prestige show of being on Netflix next to all of these other awesome Netflix shows that we have watched. We didn't like the back half of Luke Cage that much, but the first half is good. We love Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and those have been really, really great. And it has that working for it. And also, it's the last show before we get the Defenders. I mean, that hype train was really running for that show, getting all these guys together. Basically, it's getting a lot of people really excited this. But also, I think the show has a lot working against it, unfortunately. So first off, the kind of story of Iron Fist on the surface is kind of one where I think people are pretty familiar with now in the superhero space. So you got similar things happening in Arrow and in Batman, where you kind of have a character coming back from far away, trying to either reclaim a company or reclaim their city or something like that. So it's a very familiar theme. I'm not saying that's necessarily Iron Fist's fault. It's literally his origin. But, that it's working against it, I think, a little bit. And also, you can't necessarily get around the fact that this is kind of like a white guy that knows Kung Fu coming back to New York and kind of white mansplaining it to people. I know it kind of sounds a little social justice warrior, but there's not really any way they can get around that either. That's like literally the character. That's how Iron Fist always has been. So even though it's not really a problem for me, I know some people, it's going to bug some people out there, and that's going to start to spread out there on the web. So it, like I said, it's got things working for it and it's got things working against it. So all of that stuff shouldn't matter, right, if you get into the show and it's good. But unfortunately, right now, the show for me is just very mediocre. I don't really like the character of Danny right now in these first couple of episodes. Some of the characters I think are doing things that are kind of silly and don't make a whole lot of sense. And also, I don't think I'm the best judge of acting. I'm a horrible actor myself. I would never even try to do it. And I think even really bad actors can fool me, but I am just not on board with Finn Jones's performance as Danny Rand so far. I don't really understand where he's coming from at the character, and every once in a while he'll just throw down these random kind of proverbs that just seem really strange and out of place. But so far the story is kind of starting to get me slowly. I wouldn't necessarily say the show is moving slow necessarily, as it's just not coming together very quickly for me. I was thinking about all the other Netflix shows that we've had and how quickly and exciting they've moved along. Like, think about episode 3 of Daredevil with that killer awesome hallway fight scene that we all loved. Think about episode 3 of Luke Cage, I believe is the one where he stormed Crispus Attucks and he just destroyed all of those fools. I just have not really gotten anything like that in Iron Fist so far, and I kind of feel a little bit let down. So I'm hoping maybe by the time we get to the back half of the season, things will really start to pick up, but I mean, right now it just seems mediocre. Like, it just seems like if we put this on the CW, this is the best show CW has ever made, and we would all praise them. But, it's on Netflix, and it's following up all these awesome Netflix shows, and it's letting me down right now, man.
Well, see, I'm on the other side of this, because I think Daredevil and Luke Cage are too much alike, and this is more of a breath of fresh air in what we're getting. But I in the movie world, I'm like more of a slow burn movie. Like my other movies are very slow burn movies. Like the movie Seven is one of my favorite movies. It's a slow burn movie, right? It doesn't come together until much later. And out of 2 episodes, I can't say a lot. It does feel, I can feel the time passing when I'm watching these 2 episodes. That was a fact. But at the same time, I never once resorted to picking up my phone and doing something else. So it's got me enthralled with the mysteries going on here. I think the first episode hits you so hard with a lot of stuff. Like, it's not fast stuff, but they could have made that first episode the first half of the season, if they'd done it right. But 2 episodes and I can't say a whole lot. But I'm not vehemently against the show. I would probably watch it more than Arrow, simply because, to me, a lot of people are comparing it to Arrow, and that's why I say this. Arrow seems more like a daytime soap opera, and this is, I don't know, it's got a little bit of the flashbacks of Arrow, but it's not quite that bad in terms of like quality and acting and the dialogue to me. But my other experience with Iron Fist is from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon show. I don't know if you've watched any of that.
I'm familiar. I don't think I've seen Iron Fist.
It's like it's a kid version of, like, there's a kid Luke Cage and kid Iron Fist, and in that one he's like the provincial hippie of things, talking in like that surfer dude, like you think he's high but he's really not kind of voice. So I'm glad they didn't go completely spiritual Danny Rand. Like, he's still got some issues going on here, like the anxiety and whatever is going on. I can't even explain it to ruin it for anybody. That's my problem. But I get where people are coming from, but I've not seen enough to vehemently say don't watch this. I still think people should watch it, but don't expect action levels from Daredevil and Luke Cage era.
Yeah, and I think that is one thing that does disappoint me a little bit. I mean, Danny Rand, the Iron Fist, he's supposed to be this kung fu master, and I have yet to really see anything that's blown me away on that front. You have Matt Murdock, who kind of like grew up on the streets of Hell's Kitchen. His dad kind of taught him to fight. He trained himself, and he's just like kicking everybody's ass up and down the street for nearly all 13 episodes. And like, I just really hoping the back half of this season, they just really rail into it, really get into this kung fu action. Because right now it's a little slow, it's just a little uneven. So I'm crossing my fingers here that when we do the spoiler cast next week, my position and perspective will change. So let's hope for that, because I'm still hype and excited for Defenders. That's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And again, I give the actors a lot of credit. I mean, I know you said you're not a master. I think the actors are doing a great job. I think it's just hard to tell the story of a rich man who has been away for a long time come back, yet again in a different way. So without changing the character too much. So I'm definitely
What is it? The older friend who's the head of the Rand company. What's his name? Ward. Yeah. My wife pointed out, and I agreed that Ward, he looks like an evil or off-brand version of Justin Long. So if you guys are watching the show, take a look and see if you think that too.
I honestly haven't seen that yet. I've been watching. I haven't seen that yet, but I think it's good. I think there's a lot of mysteries. I'm intrigued, and I'm gonna take my time watching it. Hopefully, that might be a problem with a lot of people. Like, when you try to binge watch a show, you lose a lot, or either you feel it or you don't feel it. So I don't know. We'll see. Next week, Spoilercast, right? Spoilercast?
Yes, next week's Spoilercast, we will let you know for sure.
I'm typing that in the notes right now, so it's official. It's official, so notes.
Yeah, we will let you know for sure if we are on the board of Iron Fist or not.
Mm-hmm. So that brings us. We're gonna switch gears to another TV show, Legion. I watched a lot of Legion this week, mostly because I watched Beauty and the Beast, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the guy who was the Beast is the main actor in Legion, Dan Stevens. But Legion has a season 2 confirmed already, so it's doing well over on FX. That Fox and Marvel team up, getting a second season confirmed. I think that's good. Have you seen a lot of it? Are you?
We've still only seen the first episode. We have decided to go the binge route of this show, so I think the last episode airs next week or possibly the week after.
No, is it 8 or 10?
I think they're coming up on getting close to the end here. So
well, it was just 6, so I think there's 8. So yeah, 2 more.
Yeah, so we're gonna binge watch it all, but yeah, I've heard really good things. A lot of positive response. I think there at the very beginning, people were a little worried about it just because there was not a whole lot of concrete knowledge going on in the show. I guess since this is kind of supposed to be about what's real and what's not, that was kind of confusing people. They're kind of waiting for it to settle a little bit, but I guess it's settled and people are really like where it's going.
Oh, see, I never heard any of that, but it is one of those shows you have to watch, like actively watch this show.
Yeah, you have to watch every show.
well, I mean, there are shows I can put on and like work on something else while it's in the background. But Legion, you have to actively watch every second, or you're gonna miss something very crucial that happens later on.
Yes, bring out those third grader active listening skills that your teacher worked so hard to instill in you.
Not even just listen, just watch it. You just gotta watch it and see what's going on, because there's glitches in his mind. It's kind of like The Matrix a little bit that way. It meets Inception. It's cool. I'm really excited. I've got to watch the last one, but really kicking it up. So I'm glad season 2's coming. So I'll bring that on. Legion. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is confirmed with the sequel. You kind of gave me this bit of news here. Volume 3 was confirmed by James Gunn, but we don't know if he'll be directing it. So
yeah, well, I mean, it was cool to hear that they're going to be getting a Volume 3. I don't think that necessarily surprises anybody because all of these Marvel movies seem to be getting kind of their trilogy treatment, so I'm looking forward to Volume 3 because I think that should be really big, I would think. They went really big with Captain America and Civil War, that being its third movie, so I can only imagine how crazy they'll go with Guardians of the Galaxy. But also, that just makes me start to get a little excited because then you get to start to think about the future of the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
So that means Volume 3 is going to be after Infinity War. It's going to be after that phase of Marvel. So it's going to be in this kind of whole new post-Infinity world. So it makes me think, what's going to go on there?
Exactly. What's the landscape going to be like in 3 to 5 years when it comes out? I mean, this is currently not on the radar for 2019 that we know of. Knock on wood. It's probably going to bring in a ton of money, so they'll probably try to make it a nice summer kickoff again. So we'll see about that. Also for Volume 2, I did not know this, but Michael Rosenbaum has been quote unquote added to the cast. He's already filmed his parts, but they confirmed his parts with Sylvester Stallone as key Marvel characters from the comic books.
Yeah, I forgot that they were even going to be in Volume 2 because I think I was so caught up with Kurt Russell. I was like, oh yeah, Sylvester Stallone is supposed to be in this movie. That's so strange.
Yeah, and I didn't know Michael Rosenbaum was. People might remember him as Lex Luthor in Smallville. So I think he's cool jumping over there. I really honestly don't know who they be. I've not seen any screenshots. We've not seen any leaks. It's gonna be up in the air, and being a month and a half away from launch, I want to say a little blind. I want to keep my ears closed to that.
Yeah. The phrase "key Marvel characters" really makes me curious. It makes me think that they're not just gonna kind of be just obscure characters, kind of like Mantis is. They're gonna be kind of a little bit more grounded into the mythos.
Yeah, exactly. Someone a regular viewer might recognize or know the name of, perhaps. Maybe some Nova Corps people. Who knows? We don't know. That's all I can think of off the top of my head is Nova. But
whoa, Sylvester Stallone as I guess Nova's dad. I guess it depends on who you want to say Nova. Nova is such a strange term because there's like Nova Corps, but then there's Nova the hero, and then
Richard Rider.
Nova, isn't Nova also kind of a mantle as well? I could see.
Yeah, there's different ones, but yeah. I mean, the Nova helmet looks a lot like his Judge Dredd helmet, which they could obviously have some fun with there.
Yeah, I think that's what I want. I want that. That's what I want.
Well, there we go. We'll see. We'll definitely play that by ear. Trying to stay blind. There's new TV spots popping up for this all over the place, but I'm avoiding like the plague. And something I'm not avoiding like the plague, though, however, is the Inhumans. I have, if Iron Fist stays as low as it is and does not get better for me or for you, we have to be careful with the Inhumans because it has the same showrunner as Iron Fist. So that's fine, whatever. However, we got some new images here. First up is this. You can kind of see what appears to be Medusa, Black Bolt, and their security guard Orin walking through a crowd of people while they were filming. I believe the guy in the green kind of lower right of that red X is Karnak. It looks like the Inhuman Karnak in his current outfit as well. And someone said they could see the guy who's Ramsey Bolt Maximus down there in the crowd, but I couldn't make it out very well.
Yeah, this is it's a very telescoped shot from like up on a balcony down below to the ground. Basically, the most that you can kind of take away from this is like you can kind of see Medusa's get up a little bit in her like
red hair and purple robe
dress. But I didn't know that they were filming in Hawaii. I thought just the source was kind of cool. This is from like a Real News Hawaii Twitter account. So I think that's kind of cool. I just assumed that they would either be filming in Atlanta or Los Angeles, and we'd kind of be seeing them trying to jazz up these locations to make them look exotic. So I think that's kind of cool that they're filming in Hawaii. So maybe that's where they're going to set the show. Maybe they're going to try to... I don't know if they're trying to just keep them in tropical environments. Maybe that's going to be like where the kingdom for the Inhumans are, or maybe in some sort of jungle type area. But I think that's kind of cool.
So, well, a couple of things. The Inhumans world is very technologically advanced, and we've seen some of that in S.H.I.E.L.D., but they are in the comic from the 90s. It is kind of off the island of Hawaii or somewhere. It was off hidden off a Hawaiian like island looking land. So that's cool. I thought we talked about this before. I must have just talked about it with somebody else. But Marvel now has a Hawaii office. That's because that's where they could also be filming Namor / the Submariner. So
I would like to get a job at that Hawaiian office. Yeah. That would be a really nice place to work.
It would be. And not only do we have Medusa, we also have a look at her sister's hair. I believe the link is a little broken here, but I can find it. She has the black stripe around her hair, along with the black tips, and there's like a circle in the back. It's really weird looking. You'd know it in the comic books if you saw it in a heartbeat. But I definitely this.
Oh yeah, I can see it right here. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, this is always kind of my favorite part of new shows is seeing how they interpret the costumes to real life. So I'm looking forward to, I guess, the inevitable Entertainment Weekly cover where they're all together, all jazzed up and photoshopped. So I'm looking forward to that. But this is awesome.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of effort into this for characters a lot of people don't know. So I do appreciate that. And lastly, I saw this. There's an obelisk looking thing that they're filming around. It's covering another statue apparently. But at night, when they light it up, it has the same sketches that Coulson was drawing at the end of season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So that kind of brings it back around to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I guess, a little bit more.
Yeah, well, it at the end, he had the Kree blood in him because he was trying to find the Kree map to the Inhumans where the Terrigen was. So, hashtag it's all connected, bro. Hashtag it's all connected. So I just thought it was a cool throwback. If you watch S.H.I.E.L.D. at least through the first 2 seasons, you'll recognize some of that stuff. And they even use that in some of the covers to kind of like tease it a little bit.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm just excited to see if Inhumans are going to be a hit or miss. And this isn't even based on the showrunner. This is just based on this unique kind of thing they're doing with premiering the first a couple episodes in IMAX, and it seems like they're going really all out there. But then they're gonna I guess transition to a more pedestrian ABC time slot on television, and it'll be interesting. I love this kind of new wave of entertainment and how it kind of settles into our schedules.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, so there it is. That's our Inhumans news and images for the week. Probably more next week. These popped up right after we got the show last week, Mike, just like we predicted. So, yeah, that's just how it rolls. Probably one of the biggest news this week hit like a slap in the face is a Venom movie announced by Sony. The Venom from Spider-Man, confirmed for October 5th, 2018 from Sony. Where, why, how did this happen, Mike? What do you think? If I said Sony is making a Venom movie next year, what do you think?
This is what I think. Knock it off. This is what I think. Just because I don't like any idea that comes out of Sony's mouth. You know what? If they want us to be not worried about it, go ahead and let like Marvel Studios make the announcement if they happen to be doing it together. I don't even know if Marvel is going to have a hand in this at all. Like, is Sony going to be in charge of setting up Venom, and then when Venom pops up in a Spider-Man movie, Marvel maybe gets to fix what they broke? I don't know. We haven't even had a decent on-screen portrayal of Venom yet. So, like, I think we need to make sure that we do it right. So I kind of like the approach of maybe doing something like they did with the Joker and the Dark Knight. A lot of people will argue and say the Dark Knight isn't a Batman movie and it's almost more of a Joker movie just because the villain was so engaging and he just steals the show. So, man, I would just love to see that like in Venom. Like, everybody has loved this villain for the longest time. I think almost entirely due to how crazy the character looks and how villainous he is. So I think if they could just really work on that, that would be awesome. Like, let's just introduce him like we have done in the past with villains, with just in a Spider-Man movie. I don't know if there's enough there to Venom to give him all of these like different dichotomies of, oh, is he a hero? Is he an anti-hero? Are we supposed to like him? Are we supposed to love/hate him? Hate him? Like, no, he's just a villain. Throw him in a Spider-Man movie and just do him right. You don't need to make this complicated. Give him his own standoff movie. Like, I know the symbiote has evolved over time in the comic books to where like Venom is now like in like bulletproof jacket and he has guns, and then he was on the Guardians of the Galaxy for a while. Like, we don't need to get messed up in all of that. Just give us a decent Venom Spider-Man fight in a Spider-Man movie and do that right first. It's like we're rebooting Spider-Man basically, and we did it well so far with Civil War, and we're going to be giving him his own movie this summer. Like, let him run through his course of villains with his trilogy. Guardians is getting a trilogy, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, they're getting their trilogy. Let's just throw him in one of those Spider-Man movies that's good. So that's what I want.
Well, too bad, Mike, because you're not getting any of that. Just from what I get from what I gathered on these reports that came in, that this is not related to Homecoming at all. That's why Marvel did not do any announcements with it. There's no director confirmed, despite the fact I think it was Alex Kurtzman has been tied to a Venom movie for like 4 years now. That was back in the Amazing Spider-Man days. So there's no director. There's a script that has been turned in already, surprisingly, by Scott Rosenberg, who's writing the upcoming Jumanji reboot, and Jeff Pinkner, who worked on Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
And they were working on a draft from Dante Harper, who recently did Alien Covenant. So no faith in that whatsoever either. Secondly, Avi Arad and Matt Tolmach are still on as producers, meaning this is probably standalone and not MCU related. That was kind of the biggest giveaway.
Like, they're just gonna soil the good faith that they've gotten with their audience so far with putting Spider-Man in Civil War, and they're just gonna ruin it. I don't like this. This kind of comes back to that rumor I was talking about a few weeks back, where I heard something along the lines of the Sony Pictures is gonna live and die. Well, at least their animated portion of their studio is going to live and die based on this Emoji movie coming up. I wonder if they might live or die based on this Venom movie coming up, because it seems like a movie that would be very expensive and that maybe not go over very well. So are they just going to use the money they get from Marvel to keep them afloat now? This doesn't need to happen. Stop it. Knock it off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what their plans are. This one of the reports also said that this is like inspired by Deadpool's success. They want to make Venom their like standalone character, kind of like Deadpool.
Yeah. And that's what we were all worried about. This was going to be the downside of what we didn't want to see from Deadpool. Like, you can't just take a bad guy and make it rated R and just it's going to work. That's not what we're doing here.
Yeah. So Avi Arad has not done anything good that I can think of in a long time. So I blame him. And also, there was a bunch of stuff this week. The movie Life with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal is coming out, and it's about like a symbiote, and everyone's like, oh, is this like a prequel to Venom? Because it is by Sony Pictures as well. And everyone, like the people in the press were like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And they were just been fucking with people all weekend.
I tell you what, if Sony Pictures went to that level to try to introduce the symbiote into their universe, I would give them props. I would give them credit that someone out there was daring enough to just make a standalone movie and just slightly connect it to an upcoming Venom movie. I would give them credit for that, but it doesn't necessarily mean their Venom movie is going to end up being good. So, man, this is just not good news.
Yeah, it's definitely the most interesting bit of news this week. But we've had interesting like Spider-Man spin-offs and sequels before that have never happened or come to fruition. October 5th, 2018 is a quick turnaround time in my head for them to do a Venom movie, because I imagine there's a lot of computer graphics that are going to go into this. And with the animated Spider-Man movie from Sony coming out that December, I feel like they're just gonna shoot themselves in the foot, and they're gonna have to sell off their Columbia Pictures or whatever it's called, Sony Pictures, to just get rid of it. So
I hope so.
Yeah, our fingers are crossed. Did you end up seeing Beauty and the Beast this week, Mike?
No, I didn't, because we all know how I feel about these live-action Disney movies. Yes, I know. I hear people. Jungle Book is supposed to be good, but it doesn't mean I've gotten around to watching it yet. So.
Okay, well, I was curious. I went Thursday evening with my wife, and just no spoilers here, but I mean, it didn't offend me. I don't have an affinity for the original, but there are times when you can tell they set Emma Watson down in front of a green screen and said, "Smile at the dancing plate in front of you," and she's like, "How the fuck do I do that?" I had to do this for 10 years doing Harry Potter movies. Now I have to do it now. But there are the Beast CG didn't sell me, and there are some parts of the story that the pacing's a little weird. But if you like the first one, you're gonna love this. So
yeah, I've kind of heard that this movie is it's kind of like easy listening music. It's like, some people have said it's nice to go into a movie to not really have to worry about the plot or what's going to be the fate of like a franchise necessarily. So you just go in, you kind of have a good time, see if Emma Watson can look at a plate for a entirely CG dance number. But yeah, I mean, I this is exactly what I was expecting. I knew it's not going to win any sort of like Best Picture Oscar or anything like that. It's a Disney princess movie, but reimagined in live action. It seemed like they did a decent job converting from 2D animation to live action. So,
I will tell you, I will give it one compliment here. They made her dad not seem to be as like some crazy fucking lunatic like they did in the cartoon version, which applaud them for changing it to make it, like not everyone's stupid in this, like, because that's how the first one, the cartoon's like everyone's dumb or crazy. And two, they changed the beginning of the movie is shot in the HDR pretty much, where like everything is like well lit. You can see the lights and the lows, But then they changed that, thankfully, because that would have bothered me the whole time. So I give them, yes, it wasn't bad. I don't have any affinity for it, but it's not a bad translation. So kudos to you. Ewan McGregor stole the show. There we go. That's who I enjoyed the most.
Yeah,
he was a candle.
Because I feel like you're my secret agent. You know, I send you out to these Disney movies, you report back, because we know we're not going to be doing spoiler casts on these live action Disney things. So it's kind of nice to I get the feedback from you, and I don't really have to put any effort into it.
We had an idea the other day, Mike. I hadn't told you this yet, but like next week, I think I might go watch the Power Rangers, and then we come back and do a spoiler cast, but only I've seen the movie. So I get for the next for 30 minutes, I get to try to explain you the Power Rangers reboot.
Okay. Well, so I was planning on seeing Ghost in the Shell. I don't know if you were. Maybe I could do the same thing there. Maybe we'll just do like a back to back.
Yeah. I spoil a movie for you. You spoil a movie for me. We all call it even. So
yeah, we'll do a 2-parter. We'll just cram it all into one episode.
Yeah. Well, if it comes around to it, let's do it. So we'll plan that out later.
Yeah.
If we way past our spoiler cast, that's more important.
We'll keep you posted.
Yes, we will. I've got some Batman news here that's kind of shocking as well, Mike. And I'm not trying to be down on the Batman, but this doesn't sound good. And the script apparently is being rewritten from scratch, much like a page 1 rewrite.
Didn't we talk about this like 2 weeks ago? Didn't they already do this?
No, the Flash did that. They were all on board the Batman script a few weeks ago, and now they're not.
Oh man. What is going on, man? Chris? What's going on? Tell me.
Okay, so I honestly don't know. But couple things. With this new rewrite of the script, Joe Manganiello does not know if Deathstroke will be in it. So we could potentially lose one of the most hyped parts of this movie. And J.K. Simmons doesn't show when or if he'll return as Commissioner Gordon. If they do as well. So
man,
this is bad voodoo on like everybody. Like it's not just like the character, but like they are just like shafting a lot of people, it sounds like, over there.
Well, I feel like almost the trouble is, how do you get people excited in the industry about making a Warner Brothers movie when their last 3 movies have just been so mixed? Like you're going to have to find kind of really hardcore fans to support those movies. You know, the general audience was just kind of meh about them. So like, how do you get people excited about The Batman when the last time they saw The Batman was not a very good movie? So maybe Warner Brothers is just like trying to like, hey, just stay put, just sit down. You don't have to get up, don't leave the movie yet. Everything will be okay. Wonder Woman's going to come out. It's going to be good. Justice League's kind of going to come out. It's going to be even better. Then you'll be excited to be with this family. Just stay put, everybody. I feel like they're trying to like keep cats from like running all around the room.
I don't know, man. It's like they're like in a really bad relationship, and they're like, one week they love him and the other week they hate him, and like they can't figure out which one they want to be all the time. So they're like, well, we're having a bad week this week, so let's run back to Batman. And like, no, we don't like Batman this week, so we got to run away and mess it all up. So there's so much back and forth on this. I don't even know, but I mean, with the interviews with J.K. Simmons and Joe Manganiello, like they don't even know now. So like, you're alienating people who are going to get asked about this a lot. And on top of that, Ben Affleck, this is not related to the film, but he has just checked in rehab for alcohol addiction. So, ooh. I mean, this is some bad press, man. This is a bad week for press for the Batman.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you can kind of flip that to look at it in a good way. I still think, I mean, just with all the possibilities out there in Hollywood, this could still end up being a good movie. Nothing has been done that can't be fixed, so I guess there's no reason to freak out. But yeah, this is definitely not good script for the good press for the Batman.
Exactly, and honestly, I don't know. If they're rewriting the Batman, it might affect our next topic here, the Nightwing movie. We've talked about this kind of being in production a little bit, in development, and but Deathstroke is more of a Nightwing villain. So maybe they could rework Deathstroke into being a Nightwing villain rather than the Batman's villain, despite all the hype we have for him.
How do you even make that work? Nightwing is a character I don't believe we have ever seen on the big screen in live action. I know he's probably been in Warner Brothers animated movies. He's not even in the animated cartoons that much. Every once in a while he might pop up in something, but I think the last time we'd seen him was in the second season of Young Justice. So I don't even think Nightwing is that well known to the public, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But like, how do you kind of bring him up out of obscurity into this franchise that hasn't even really established their big hitters that well? So I don't know. I feel like a Nightwing movie is just you're stepping in a little too quickly there.
Well, I think their goal is if Affleck does not work out, Nightwing can be his replacement.
Okay.
Like we don't want to recast Batman or revamp this whole universe just yet. Give us another year, but Nightwing could be that. And like I said, Deathstroke is more of a Nightwing villain. He was never really a Batman villain. So maybe they're gonna do some shifting around and make it work. I don't know, man. I've got more bad news on the horizon here.
Oh, okay.
And I think I sent you this message, but Aquaman has been pushed back several months. From October, I think, to December of 2018.
Yeah, and it was moved around because something was moved at Warner Brothers as well, wasn't it?
I don't remember. Avatar gave up December.
Yeah, it was Avatar. I think that's what it was.
And then once they moved Aquaman, that's when they announced Venom in that time slot Aquaman used to be. It's been a very, very shifty week.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about, I would think, the shift of Aquaman, just because October has always been a really weird month for movies. I think Hollywood is kind of reinventing the month, because it kind of sits in between winter. It sits at the after summer has officially ended. So it's this weird month where we have seen movies that have been okay, but usually they're not big blockbusters, I would say, like an Aquaman movie would. So maybe it's good that it's out of October. Maybe that means the studio has more belief in the movie. Maybe they're just like, oh, this movie could be so big if it wasn't stuck in October. But like, oh shit, Avatar, the $2 billion movie, just got pushed back. Let's move Aquaman over there.
Well,
but then
I'm gonna go the other side of this. Is that Aquaman? There is no between Justice League November to Aquaman December. There is no DC movies next year. One full year and 1 month. And what if Star Wars lands their beloved December spot right now in 2018?
Yeah, that would be rough, because that would be, I guess, their next Star Wars story movie. So I would hope maybe Aquaman, I don't know if they've picked an exact date in December, but let's hope
21st.
to God. Let's hope to God it's not on the exact same weekend, because that would be a little rough.
Yeah, so I think if they were going to move Aquaman, they should have brought him into the summer. Because 13 months without a movie in your extended universe, and all this talk of, Batman being done, The Flash is getting a page one rewrite. Not where they just rewrite page one, but they have to rewrite the whole script. It's worrisome. Like, that's not a good gap.
And I'll go a little extra corporate on this. Think about it. Aquaman movie in the summer. Think of all the pool toys that you can sell. You can't sell any of that stuff in December. Everything's frozen over. So, yeah, there you go. Good idea, guys.
Yeah, right? So, and Aquaman has had, like, the best press. Like, nothing's been wrong. Jason Momoa is, like, doing, like, workouts for it. They're scouting locations. Everything seems to be going on schedule for that movie. And... just the idea of, I get pushing back to a better month, I get that, but when you widen your gap between movies, like what are you doing? So I agree with you. I'm with you, Mike, on this one. So
well, thanks, man.
You're welcome. God, I might change next week. I don't agree with you now, Mike. I'm off of it because we were too happy for a second. Green Lantern Corps also has some news that a lot of fans have not liked this week as well, that possibly director David Goyer could be directing it, Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah, which is kind of strange, because I think most people wouldn't consider David Goyer director as more of a writer, because he's written pretty much tons of things out there in the superhero universe. Like he wrote Batman vs Superman. I think he wrote a lot of the
Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, he's written a lot of things. He has a couple directorial credits, but nothing that I think is really standing out to people. Some
Blade
episodes
3
on TV here or there. So
Blade 3. That's all I'm gonna say. Just Blade 3.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. Like, is is he like gonna, I don't know. It's always hard to say because when a movie goes bad, you don't necessarily know exactly what went wrong. So maybe I don't know. It's just David Goyer doesn't exactly instill a lot of confidence in this when you think of superhero movies. You know, especially coming off of Batman vs Superman.
He's got such. We've talked about this at length before. He's got such a mixed bag, but he's also co-writing and co-producing Green Lantern Corps. So for him to make the stretch over to director would essentially be like Blade Trinity. He did all three on Blade Trinity. And I don't know. We new blood. Get new blood in there, DC. Like get David Goyer out. Let him do his own thing for a bit, and then we haven't even seen this Krypton show yet. Like,
yeah, I think that would be the best idea. Also for Fox as well. Fox and Warner Brothers, they just need fresh blood. Stop pulling up these same people that have been doing it for decades. You need a fresh perspective on this stuff. But at the same time, I will be devil's advocate for David Goyer, and maybe this will be his best movie ever. Maybe since he's going to be writing, directing, producing it, maybe he'll be able to make the exact Green Lantern movie he's always wanted made. Maybe he's just going to knock it out of the park, and we're all going to love it. So I'm just going to cross my fingers for Goyer.
I'm going to again use an example. He did all three for Blade Trinity, and look how that turned out. Just wipe my hands clean. There we go.
Oh, wrong place, wrong time. I don't know, man.
Stop being such an optimist here. Okay, we're not gonna let him have it. Now we've got a mixed bag here at the end of the show. Actually, probably more than the rest of the show, which is ironic. We had our first poster for the Dark Tower, which was supposed to come out I think last month until I moved it to the summer in good faith. So this is a very interesting picture because they stand like the light. Like around the two characters on the bottom is supposed to be the shadow of the Dark Tower, maybe.
Yeah, I think if you invert basically the negative space inside the poster is supposed to be the Dark Tower. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know much about this series. I know a lot of people are really excited and hoping it doesn't suck. This is kind of the same type of conversations that came out when the Ender's Game movie came out. Everybody was just like, oh, Ender's Game was such a good book. It's so awesome. I hope they don't ruin it. So basically, if you jump into any online conversations, you're just going to see a whole lot of, I hope they don't fuck this up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the trailer that leaked that we saw a couple months ago, I enjoyed. And I know nothing about this. And there's a TV show coming along with it as well. So we'll keep you posted. But there's our first poster. That's cool, right? I'm cool with it. Whatever. Starz has a show coming up called American Gods, based on the book by Neil Gaiman, however you want to say his name. I'm illiterate.
I think it's Gaiman.
Gaiman. And the new trailer for American Gods came out. It premieres April 30th. I actually, for not having read the book and knowing it is my co-host on Film Site Chat, Patrick's one of his favorite books. I'm really excited to watch this. So
yeah, it looks pretty cool, and I know with it being on Starz, it's going to be able to be mature. There's a quick shot in the trailer where literally someone is cut in half from head to, I guess, crotch for a second, and it's kind of off in the corner, and there's blood. So
there's a lot of blood. Could be, a lot of blood in the trailer.
This could be pretty brutal. It looks really interesting. I know nothing about this book, but I'll look forward to this one. I don't really know if I'm going to be able to find a lot of time to fit this into the schedule, because this does kind of seem one of those like one-off things where it's just like, maybe if it ends up getting really good press, I'll try to work it in. But I think this is maybe a binge watch on the weekend once the season is up.
Yeah, for me, since I have Starz access, I might try to watch this one simply because my wife's Game of Thrones doesn't start until July this year. We don't have any Westworld this year, so I'm going to need something hopefully written well and above the standard fare to get me through spring and the summer. So cross my fingers for that one. I'll come back. I'll let you know about the first episode, Mike. I'll let you know.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. The Matrix got some news today. That's not a movie I've talked about in years, but the WB is planning not a sequel, but a prequel, as the reports are now talking about, with Michael B. Jordan as a young Morpheus and following his story as a young Morpheus, if you will.
Oh man.
But it's the Matrix, so it could be a sequel if it's rebooted. I don't know how this works. It's very confusing.
I'm more curious who is going to be attached to this. Are we going to get the Wachowskis back, or is this going to be maybe they're just going to like maybe bring up an up-and-coming director to helm this, and maybe they'll just kind of be at the high level, just making sure things aren't fucked up too much. But at the same time, they kind of fucked up the second two movies, so I don't really know what to think here. I at the end of the day, this is a movie I don't think we need at all. Like, we don't need a prequel for Morpheus. I like the idea of Michael B. Jordan being in a sci-fi movie. I am fine with that. I don't think we have any issues with Michael B. Jordan here on our end. But one thing that is pretty funny, though, if you guys out there are fans of Screen Junkies, the guys that make Honest Trailers, they have this show on their premium network called I think it's Pitch Off or something, where basically you pitch movie ideas to what's his name?
Oh gosh,
the guy, the comedian that's high all the time, Doug Benson. That's his name.
There it is.
But there was actually somebody on that show like a couple months back that pitched this exact same movie to him, which was like, we're gonna be a prequel for Morpheus, and it's gonna be Michael B. Jordan. So in his pitch, he also included that Michael B. Jordan, I believe, had a brother that ends up dying or something like that. So if that happens in this prequel, that will be hilarious.
Yeah, so the report on this is proceeding without the Wachowskis, and one of my acquaintances from school, who's actually a reviewer / writer for Slash Film, actually his quote on this actually kind of like made me think a little bit here. But he says, "Denial is the most predictable of all human responses," which of course Mike is in very much denial right now. But rest assured, reboots are our jam, and we've become exceedingly efficient at it, which seems to be true of the film industry. They are very efficient at reboots, and some of them work. Some of them work. Now, if this is a reboot or a prequel, who knows it? I just hope they don't go with the whole, hit you over the head with like Neo is, a metaphor for the Messiah savior thing, because that was so much on those last two. And all I really wanted to see was more of those, interstate car chases with those twin ghost-looking things that he was fighting. So hopefully, a young Morpheus can be a little bit interesting. I would like to go back into the world of the Matrix, minus all that heavy lifting stuff there at the end. I think it'd be fun. So,
all right,
I am okay with this. Now, next year we get Infinity War Part 1 and then Infinity War Part 2 from Marvel and the Russo brothers, but they've already announced their next project after Infinity War, and the Russo brothers are going to be working on a TV series adaptation of a comic called Quantum and Woody from Valiant Comics.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a TV series. And this Quantum and Woody is essentially a buddy superhero comic book about character, like where the characters are based on the white men can't jump characters, Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, where the white guy is the funny wisecracking one. And there are only 22 issues out there in the wild, so it's not hard to find, and it's I've not read it, but it seems like a good idea.
I really like this news just because I like how the Russo brothers are kind of going back into television. I mean, this is like a big deal, and it really kind of shows you the landscape of Hollywood right now, where after the Infinity War comes out, I can't imagine two directors out there that are going to have more clout than they have. I mean, they're going to be kind of on James Cameron level with the box office amounts after those Infinity War movies. It's going to be crazy. I mean, those guys have made awesome movies so far. They've directed some really cool episodes of Community as well. So it's so cool that after having all of this big blockbuster record-breaking clout under their belt, that they're like, yeah, let's just go back to TV. I think that's so cool. So it'll be interesting to see what network this show is going to be on, because I kind of hope maybe it's on a little bit more of a prestige network so they can kind of go all out. But this is cool news. I like this, man.
Well, I also like that it's a series that's wrapped up for the most part. I don't think I think it was like early mid 2000s, and then they did a 2013 like one-off mini that was like in the 20 years in the future. So they have the material to work with. They can, like you said, they can write their own. They can do whatever they want with that money. They're probably like one of the hottest pair in Hollywood, or I guess maybe put them in charge of the Green Lantern and Batman movies, right? But
wow, yeah, that'd be cool.
They can do what they want, and you're right. Letting them go do what they want to do with TV, and and these smaller characters that really don't have a history that a lot of people care about. Like, let them do it. I think that's fun. Go for it. I'm down. I'm down with that. So good on you, Russo brothers. Right before we started the show, I made Mike watch the Despicable Me 3 trailer, the newest trailer, simply because he's a super villain. Okay, right? There are superheroes, I think, in that world, but it was in. I think Despicable Me has hit that point where like they should stop because they have Steve Carell playing the main character Gru and his twin brother Drew. And I'm like, when's the last time we saw this happen, Mike? Austin Powers?
I think, put it this way, we are intrigued about this movie for one reason and one reason only. Somehow they got Trey Parker to be in this movie.
Yes. Trey Parker, voice of most of the South Park characters, writer of that. Book of Mormon. He did Book of Mormon. Hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
Like
he is a creative icon and someone that I really look up to as some guy who basically does what he wants, when he wants, how he wants, and he ended up being super crazy successful. You know, he has this this show that's basically a staple on television every year now, South Park. And I'm thinking we're probably overthinking this a little bit, and more than likely he's just in the movie because he probably has kids, and he probably wanted a movie his kids can actually go see because he knows they can't be watching South Park every week. So that's what I'm thinking happened. But, I mean, the trailer's all right. I hate Steve Carell's voice as Gru. I've never liked it. It's like the worst just combination of everything. And then his slight variation to do his twin brother is just also kind of aggravating. But, I mean, it's slapstick, fun animation, you know. Well, I'm sure it will be all right.
It's a studio. I mean, Illumination isn't owned by anybody, or at least they weren't when they started. So kudos for Illumination for like being able to get a franchise underway, even if they did spawn the fucking Minions. But I think, you know, Despicable Me 3 is just, like you said, this is one of those things, like, we don't know what's going on. I didn't watch the second one. I might not watch it, but, you know, it's super villains. I'll put it in here. So that's what it is. And now I'm for my favorite part of the show. I've been looking at this for a couple days now, Mike. Ridley Scott done messed up Mike's life. And he's done messed it up even further by confirming another movie title in the Alien franchise called Alien Awakening. And when he was listing off movies, he went Prometheus, Awakening, Covenant, and was cut off before he could continue more movie titles.
What? Okay, I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope he just said them in the wrong order. Because right now, Prometheus was supposed to be the prequel to Alien. And then there was just like, no, let's make a sequel to Prometheus that's also a prequel to Alien called Alien Covenant. And then it sounds like he's no, I think we need a movie in between Prometheus and Alien Covenant that's a prequel to Alien Covenant, a prequel to Alien, a sequel to Prometheus. And we're going to go ahead and call that Alien Uprising. What is going on, Chris?
No, Awakening, not Uprising. Uprising might be the next one. I don't know. I'm kidding.
It's probably going to be the...
Quit giving him ideas, Mike. You're giving him titles. So we're going to have this fun little chart eventually one day of all these Alien movies and how they interconnect and which ones really matter at the end of the day. So I thought, when I heard this, I'm like, this is it. This is the news Mike really wanted because we don't have a Ninja Turtles movie to talk about right now. So I might as well confuse him with Ridley Scott's Aliens timeline with what is going on here. And apparently he wants to keep making more. Like, there's no stopping this old man. He's 79. I don't know how he's cranking out Alien movies.
I guess he's got Alien on the bug.
Yeah,
on the brain.
Alien on the bug brain. Sure, he's got something.
He's got a bug in his brain for
what
the Alien movies.
What if he is infected with an alien that's making him make these Alien movies?
What if he is the alien?
Oh my
he
God.
should put himself in his movies.
He probably has. We just haven't watched enough. You bought the 4-pack on iTunes, right?
Yes, and I will be diving into them soon.
Yes, so maybe we can do a countdown to Covenant one day and figure out how to watch these. I had to try to explain to someone how to watch the X-Men movies the other day. You know how hard that was?
Just tell them to light them on fire and just go do something else.
I'm like, here's some good ones. Here's some ones you can skip. Have at it. So, there's our Alien news with the Alien Awakening. Hopefully it's not like a little prequel movie, because I hate when they make, like, here's a 20-minute prequel movie, or, you know, an animated film in between these movies. I don't like those.
Well, Chris, thanks for all of the bad news this week that you really brought on us.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, if I didn't, someone else would, Mike, so I'm glad it was me. But thank you for, I want to just thank Mike for coming every week. We got this down to a schedule. He's been thinking hard about the future of the show while I've been busy doing other stuff, so thank you, Mike, for doing that. But
no problem.
If people want to know what else you're up to, because I know you got a lot going on, like you're just as busy as I am, but in different way. Where can people find you at and see what you're doing?
Well, they can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter and Instagram, and you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to know when you eventually get that CRT monitor plugged in and working, where can they follow that?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at Valdin, Valdin. I actually got it working last night. I made this little GIF of this game called Star Wars Jedi Power Battles. I was playing on it, and God, the nostalgia of the PlayStation startup sound. I'll put that GIF online now. So I'll go put it online right after this. There, you can read my stuff on Comic UI. We have C2E2 coming up in a couple weeks. Really excited for that. I've got a new guest going with me of his first convention, so that's fun. And my other podcast, Film Side Chats. And I guess most people probably won't listen to this Monday, the web series I work on, Bagged and Board, our Kickstarter starts tomorrow, or I guess Indiegogo starts tomorrow. We're crowdfunding for season 2. I'm not asking for money here. I just want people to watch the show. Go check out Bagged and Board. I just bought the domain baggedandboard.us. Us, Bagged and Board Us. Get it? It's a play on words. So you can check them out. All the episodes there. They're free on YouTube. So there's that. In the meantime, Mike, we are all over the internet. Where else can people find us if this is their first Superhero Slate episode?
All right, well, howdy doody. Let's do this. You can visit superheroslate.com. That is the best place to find all the avenues we post the show, to get our show notes so you can go check out all the stuff we've been talking about today. And it's a place where I just want you to go. I just want you to come and have a good time. I'm falling apart here.
Wow.
This is the prediction we made at the beginning of the show, all of the conversations that we had leading up to recording. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to spout things out. iTunes, YouTube, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Tumblr. Subscribe and get us right in your email inbox. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram, and you can pick up some superheroslate.com shirts at superheroslate.com/store. I'm running on Steam here. If you really like us, you can just share us with a friend, share us with a buddy, and oh man, it's been a day, man.
If you're a super fan of the show, write us, tell us about it. I actually, Mike, I want to sit here and make an executive decision. We should change our store to superheroslate.com/swag, Mike. /swag.
We can get that running too.
We can just have them both. Fuck it. All right, we'll fix it in post. But this is the episode. Thanks for coming back, guys, and we'll see you next week with our regular show and our Iron Fist Spoilercast. And that's where Mike says bye. Okay.
Bye. Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
Sometimes, I feel like we're so deep into the internet sometimes, and then just like online entertainment, that we just kind of speak the same language and kind of know what you need to do. And then someone else who's kind of doesn't know gets into the game, and you're just like, no, you don't understand.